This video may contain traces of growling stomachs, unsolicited film commentary, mild yammering, made-up tunes, and a philosophical sidebar on the dangers of Anemoia. Viewer discretion is not really advised, but snacks are. Proceed accordingly.
The women are talking. We shouldn't have let them talk.
It was a beautiful find, but the school had rules. Fortunately, there are ways to work around policies without compromising the client or the moment. To understand modesty panels, we have to go back, way back, to the Quakers. In the 18th and 19th centuries, modesty panels weren't part of clothing, they were architectural. You'd find them lining staircases to prevent wandering eyes from peeking up skirts. Churches installed them alongside organs to shield the legs and feet of women musicians from view. And later on, when women entered the office life in the 20th century, modesty panels showed up again, this time under desks, to keep ankles and calves discreetly out of sight. So yes, modesty panels were originally accessories for furniture, not fashion. It wasn't until the Victorian era that textile modesty became a style feature. Panels, fichus, and draped layers meant to conceal the bust and preserve a woman's decorum. Now, we must distinguish the difference between the following. This chemisette is a detachable faux blouse, kind of like a dicky insert from the 19th century. Often frilly or embroidered, it's a fantastic styling accessory. The modesty panel is a sewn-in or lightly attached insert for coverage. It's often added post-production to a dress. The stakes are different now, but the balancing act between expression and expectation still shows up. These days, I prioritize original design work, but I'll make an exception for the occasional custom alteration. That all depends on the client and the scope of the service. And if you are a subscriber to the channel, you can gain opportunities for services, discounts, and other cool things. So be smart and hit the subscribe button. And if you're shy and keep your subscriptions private, no worries. But if you want to be counted for giveaways or special offers, flip that switch and let me see you. And don't worry, there will be other ways to access perks and opportunities off the platform in the future. So this client requested something to cover the space between the sweetheart gap here. Why? Because she's going to a prom and it's more on the conservative end, and part of the policy there is to adhere to a dress code, and within the dress code she can keep the dress, but she needs to have something here that doesn't show too much décolletage or cleavage. And so I had suggested basically creating a modesty panel. I'm not going to take this apart per se. I'm just going to create a modesty panel that is detachable, that she can put in, detach later to her own desirability. So for instance, let's say she wants to wear this dress to another function, or she's no longer in the guidelines of having to adhere to dress code rules. She then has the option to remove the modesty panel. So that's what I'm going to draft today. So she needs this in about, I think that like a week or two, so about 2 weeks. This is the closest I could get to this color. It literally was the darkest navy blue they had in there. And she wanted it to match. She just wanted the same type of chiffon material, draping, everything. Like she just, so I'm gonna make an attempt to do that. Hopefully she is content with how it turns out. Okay, hopefully my gimbal, not gimbal, it's not Hebrew. Gimbal. Can you see this? You see this? This is dot paper, pattern dot paper. This we use to draft and make patterns for clothing or whatever. Where is my tape? Where's my tape? No. Where's my tape? Okay. Whoops, sorry. Gimbal, not gimmel, but gimbal. This is the prototype, so on the reformatted pattern, I'll make sure to do as I did here. I like how this looks on top, but I'm going to have to apply more allowance to the inside so that it doesn't accidentally pop out. There'll be a closure mechanism, whether that's buttons or snaps or whatever, inside the dress. But again, I want to make sure I have enough allowance to keep that resting inside her dress. Okay, so it's coming along. I have to decide how I'm going to finish off. Yeah, this video recording co-starring my grumbling stomach. It's always been very gas, not flatulent gas, but just, it's very loud. It's very vocal. I don't know if you can hear my stomach. It's notorious for being extremely loud. It's working. It's doing its job. Anyways, God, is that picking up on video? I am not hungry, okay? It's just a very vocal digestive system. Yeah, so it's confirmed that all that picked up on video, so I don't know if I will just voice over the next parts of this until the morning grumbles settle down. It's something that my husband and I laugh about a lot, but whatever. Decided how I'm going to finish this off. I like how it's coming along. Like I said before, my client wanted a matching type ruching effect that you found in her dress. Her dress, like I said before, it's a secondhand which I think is awesome. Okay, especially in today's tariff climate. Even if we weren't in tariff climate, I think it's I commend young people who are taking on, you know, wearing a perfectly fine dress. It may not be brand new, but you know, if it's pleasing and matches your aesthetic, why not give it another opportunity to take a twirl onto the dance floor, you know? So I was very excited to help this young lady out. Very classic style, very classic cut. It serves a lot of functions. You know, it's very timeless. All those words to mean timeless. I don't know why I had to say all that. Timeless. The word is timeless. Sometimes we make an oopsies. My oopsies was I didn't put what is called fusible lining in my it's not a garment, in my addition piece here. It will stabilize the fabric and give it some structure, give it a little bit of sturdiness. We don't want it too stiff, but you know, we want it to be able to just kind of be able to sit properly, you know, and give it serve its proper shaping within the bust line. I'm talking, I'm not directing the camera over my subject, which is no Oscar in cinematography for me. Okay, I'm just gonna have to forego that this year. Okay, so this is Fusible interfacing, and like I said, I forgot to cut it out, but I can do it after the fact. I can do it and just press it. I think I'm gonna press it. No, I'm gonna press it on my back. And we're back. So you can see I did not use this initial trace, but I did use the internal trace. And you're like, well, why did you do that? I did that because if you place this here, all right, and fit it just so, we'll pretend that it's being cooperative. To embarrass me in front of everybody. If you stick with this channel, you'll see me start fighting with my projects and garment pieces. Sometimes I'll go on social media. I would let people know like I'm in a fight with this dress or so. We're not talking. Okay, anyways, you get the picture. Obviously you can't really tell from your monitor or your phone or wherever you're watching this pathetic video that this is the rough side. This is where you have your adhesive, and it will activate with heat. So that's what we call a fusible lining for y'all who don't know much about sewing and construction and stuff like that. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna match this the way it needs to, and I'm gonna press it, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. I was literally just talking and not recording. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this is the inside of our bodice. I'm just kind of measuring to see how this will lie inside. So this is what it looks like upside down. Okay, and then I'm gonna take into account that there's a seam allowance that I need to take account for. And our seam allowance was 3/8 on the side and the bottom. And we know that our buttons are gonna lay somewhere right there. I'm gonna double check and see is that where we want that. Okay, I like that placement. Okay, and now I'm about to do something called a Tailor's tack. It's often, well, you want to use contrasting thread from your fashion fabric or whatever fabric you're working with. And these are temporary markers to help indicate placement. Perhaps you need it for buttons. I'm going to use it to remind me that I'm going to have buttons placed behind her while I'm removing the panel. It's something that can be easily taken out without damaging the fabric. But the Tailor's tack or loop stitch, whatever you want to call it, it's used to kind of remind the seamstress or the sewist or the tailor exactly where placements need to be, where darts need to be, whatever alignment needs to be done, whatever purpose you need it for. I love playing old movies and television shows. Like this is Alfred Hitchcock. I don't know, it just brings me peace. I have to go to a different time period while I'm working on projects. I don't know why. I love playing old movies. I love listening to oldies. It's not always like that, but that's my default. My default is to go back in time. That's just with music and film and television. Not everything. I don't want everything. You can keep some of that other stuff. Some of that BS stuff. I'm not suffering from like nostalgia era stuff. What do they call it? The nostalgia golden era, golden age thinking, or golden age nostalgia. I don't suffer from that. I don't go back and say bring back this era. I can go back and appreciate aspects of it, but I would like to progress forward and see what the future has to offer. Right? Because when we start looking back and start, especially fawning for days that none of us were even alive for, depending on my audience members, that golden age nostalgia thinking, be careful what you ask for. That's all I gotta say. It was fitting for that time period, as what we're doing now is fitting for this time period. And we're in constant adjustment. We're in constant evolution. We're in constant adaptation of what's needed for that given moment. Okay, enough of that. I don't know what sometimes I'll just go on these tangents and it's like, woman is talking. The women are talking. We shouldn't have let them talk. The women are talking. Don't let them talk. Don't let them talk. But then, you get scared when they're not talking. Don't let them talk. Modesty panel. We're looking at the back side. This is the front side. I'm about to close this seam up. I'm going to leave a small area so I can turn it inside out. Probably somewhere on the right side here. And then I just kind of darted these in place so that they don't moving around too much when I'm on the machine. Okay, so I sewed this off. I have this small opening. Where is it? Here it is. This small opening over here. I'm going to trim these corners. I had to do some adjustments because one of my loops popped out of the seam, which I'm going to go back and stabilize those. But right now I'm doing what's called an invisible stitch for that part of the Modesty panel that I left open so I could turn it inside out. And I'm grabbing from the inside, closing it up this way. Okay, so I reinforced the tabs, even though I sewed them in. I didn't want to risk it popping out, so I went in and tagged them down and just to kind of stabilize it. So this is our Modesty panel, and I'm gonna find, I picked up some dark buttons, which would work. I'm gonna see if I have some clear buttons. Either or, you know, it's just a preference thing. It doesn't really matter. But the buttons I will sew into the inside of my client's bodice, the bodice of the dress. And it will hook around the elastic. And again, if she needs more, I'm going to suggest she get like little mini safety pins to bring more support if she needs more than what's here. But I'm hoping this will do the job. This is what it looks like inside. Again, this doesn't match exactly, but this will serve what it needs for the time being. I think it's close enough to and I hope they are happy with the results. We'll see. Sorry you didn't get to see her in her dress, but that wasn't the point. This commission wasn't about a photo op. We have to view it as a problem-solving exercise, respecting the original design and honoring the moment she was preparing for. The transformation might seem subtle on the dress form, but it can mean everything to the person who's wearing it. And this ties into one of my earlier videos, Pretty in Pink, Sewing Through Tariffs and Style Shifts, where we explore other consumerism options, such as second-hand, upcycled fashion, and supporting smaller local designers. I encourage you to check it out.